They say success breeds success, but when you come from such humble beginnings, how does one have any concept? Perhaps some are simply born with it, and you don't have to look any further than Mario Andretti as a shining example. The Mario Andretti story is an incredible one. It's one of a boy who fled war-torn Italy with his family to settle in Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and then went on to become one of America's greatest sporting heroes. It's a real-life fairy tale. 2017 marks the 50th anniversary of Mario's Daytona 500 victory. It was a colossal win against the odds. He was a visitor to a then very private stock car club, and he wasn't meant to come away with the club championship. Mario made that Holman Moody Ford dance around Daytona like no one else. It was a victory at the World Center of Racing that was world class. But of course, performing at the highest level while dealing with, at times, challenges beyond belief was Mario's weekly routine. From the early days of collaborating with twin brother Aldo to get that Hudson Hornet humming, to working out just how many USAC dirt track events he could run at any given time, and also counting on the Concorde to get him back across the Atlantic to make the next race the following day. It was all about putting bread on the table. So much so, it was Mario's stock answer when the kids asked him where he was going each week. Once, when son Michael was asked at school what his dad did, his response to the teacher was, "My dad is a baker." And the world's fastest baker went on to win in Formula One. His first was in South Africa for the sport's oldest and most famous team, Scuderia Ferrari. And perhaps fittingly, his final podium was for the same team at the Italian Grand Prix in Monza some 11 years later. But in between was a sea of wins all around the world driving for Colin Chapman's John Player Lotus team. And the reward for all of that was, of course, the 1978 Drivers' World title. But Mario is one of those drivers who can speak to anyone, anywhere about racing because he did so much. Fans from an array of categories identify with him as their guy in their preferred series. IndyCar wouldn't be what it is today without Mario. Road courses, street courses and ovals of all sizes, it didn't matter. Mario mastered them all. His ability to thrill the fans while at the same time offer the promoters guidance on what could be done to improve was immense. Whichever side of the fence you stood, he was invaluable. Mario was part of an era unlikely to be replicated. A time defined by the efforts and astounding feats from the likes of AJ Foyt, Parnelli Jones and the Unsers. And even in a crowd like that, Mario Andretti still stood out, stood alone, as something very special. Can you imagine winning the pole position in your first F1 Grand Prix? Oh, and by the way, it was the US GP in Watkins Glen. Or how about having one of your closest friends as your team owner too, but he just happened to be one of Hollywood's best? And then there's the heartwarming angle of footsteps made for family, with son Michael and grandson Marco doing what they were destined to, has made this a racing dynasty. The Andretti racing story is one for the ages, but the racing stats and trophies in the cabinet wouldn't mean so much if Mario wasn't the man he is. He may just be the most humble hero you'll ever meet. And that hasn't occurred by error. This is a man who never forgot from where he came.